The communications industry and communications technology are in constant states of transition. Increased demand by consumers for emerging technologies forces communications companies to change the way they operate. The industry is very competitive and crowded, and Tucson's Simply Bits is quickly getting a bigger piece of the pie. Of course, it's been everything but simple for Brad Fader and Joe Cracchiola, the co-founders and owners of Simply Bits. Gentlemen, it's great to have you with us.
Thanks for having us on.
What does Simply Bits do? Tell us a bit more about the idea behind the company.
Simply Bits is a network that provides data and voice services to businesses, government, and consumers around the Tucson metro region.
There are other companies that do similar things like that, Brad. What is unique about Simply Bits?
Well, the system that we've built and put in place allows us to deliver very high speed and large bandwidth to both businesses and residents alike, with the allowance to bring those speeds up and down as a consumer needs increase.
Consumers are familiar with names like Comcast and Qwest and other internet service providers. How is your service and your technology different than what the residential market sees so much of out there?
The traditional providers have to put a piece of copper in the ground to get to the consumer or the business. Where they can do that, where they actually have the copper there, they can provide the service. We differ in that we provide this wirelessly over the air. And so we can deliver services to areas where they cannot. We also can do it in a cheaper manner, in a more nimble manner, and we bundle a number of services that you simply don't get from some of the larger guys, such as local service with product.
A little easier to put a tower up than to run miles of trench, I guess, isn't it?
It is. It's very much easier, as well as upgrading such a technology means we simply change out the endpoints. We don't have to go try and change the wire in the ground, which is a limitation that they do have.
In the technology arena, how nimble do you have to be given the kind of constant change within that industry, new technology, new ideas, new demands from consumers?
Well, having the network deliver bits and being able to put services on top of that is where we really get our flexibility from. So we name the company Simply Bits because really that's what we're really delivering. It's just bits. But then we provide additional services on top of it, such as voice services that are much more flexible than what a business would purchase traditionally, as well as things such as interconnectivity for government agencies, security services for businesses and governments, video monitoring for a number of customers as well.
Your bios say that you've both been entrepreneurs since about the age of 12. What was your first taste of going into business and making money, Brad?
Well, I would say both Joe and I graduated from the University of Arizona here and immediately went into business together. We grew a large software company here together and really have been hooked at the hip since. We were very fortunate in surrounding ourselves with excellent people, also a lot from Tucson, and we were very successful in that venture. We then joined Mike Bernstein in the venture that we're talking about here, Simply Bits, who had similar success in creating a lot of jobs in Tucson, growing a company, and then subsequently selling those companies to public entities.
You started the RightFacts empire, the company that you're referring to, started with 2 or 3 employees and ended up with over 200. And RightFacts went on to become maybe the world's leader in that network-based fax application software. What were those early days like in that booming technology run of the 80s and 90s? And particularly, how difficult was it to transfer your knowledge and your expertise in management information software into running a substantial business?
Well, as I said, we were very fortunate in surrounding ourselves with excellent people early on. You know, it would be easy to say, oh, we had all the answers and did it all ourselves, but it clearly was not that. There was some luck involved, right place, right time, right product. And, you know, Joe and I started, it was the two of us, and as you said, at the end, when we left in 2000, there was 220 employees, 150 of them based right here in Tucson.
You mentioned your product is distributed primarily here in Tucson. What's coming next? Will you go outside the metropolitan area of Tucson, and could this be national application for Simply Bits?
Well, we are expanding in the metro region, so we go up through Marana now, we go down into Sorita and Green Valley as well, and we'll continue down the I-19 corridor. But the technologies that we are using to deliver these types of services, other companies are taking the same technology and delivering competitive services all throughout the country, actually. So there's probably at least 1,000 type businesses like ours in other communities that are delivering a competitive service to the incumbents and providing the flexibility that we really can do with it.
Another success story from Fader and Crackiola. Great story, guys, and congratulations.